Hello everyone, how are you? I hope everybody's feeling good, is feeling excited because we are now in week 14. We have 2 more weeks before we finish this semester, and then after that you will have a semester break, a good semester break, where you can relax, have a break from your study and so on and so on. Okay, so for this week, as you can see over here, we're still talking about the writing project, and this week we are going to talk about the abstract. And as you know, the abstract is pretty much what you have done after you finish the whole parts in the journal article. Yeah, so an abstract is pretty much like a summary, but there will be something different from the summary itself. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the theory of abstract writing, and then later you will be practicing on the abstract writing. Okay, so let us start the material for this week, everyone. So very quickly, we'll have a quick review from last week's material, and then we will look at the theory of abstract writing, and then we will you will do some abstract writing, and we will discuss it later. Alright, so quick review from last week's material. So I noticed that many of you are actually have actually done the data collection, which is very good. And in fact, some of you have reported it in the article, in the paper. So it is very good that you have done that. For those who haven't done that, so please do it, because we are now in week 14, so you need to finish all sections in the journal article writing. Okay, and there's a question over here. Do you have any issues during the data collection and report, or during the discussion? Probably, like maybe your data is not enough, or maybe it's too much. Maybe, I'm not really sure. If you have issues with your data collection and the report of the data collection, you are more than welcome to inform me or inform with Julie for these issues. Or you can always post it in the YouTube comment and tell me your issues, and maybe we can work out something to help you with your problem during the data collection and the report. Or maybe as a whole, the writing project. Yeah, so maybe not only the data collection and the report, probably you have issues with the discussion section or the conclusion, or something related to the journal article writing. Okay, post your answer in the YouTube comment, and we'll discuss it in the practicum session later on. Yeah, so that's a very quick review from last week's material. Now we talk about abstract. I know probably many of you think that abstract is too abstract, something that you cannot see. Yeah, so or something is quite unclear, probably like this picture over here. It says that it's not clear what kind of picture that is. So this is a very good joke about what an abstract is. But obviously, the abstract that we are going to do is the abstract in a journal article writing, which is quite different from what is meant in this picture over here. Yeah, so we're going to look at the definition of abstract. So we'll go to the next slide. So what is actually an abstract? So an abstract is a concise summary. It is a concise summary of a research paper or the entire thesis. So it's very concise. And then an abstract must be fully self-contained and make sense by itself without further reference to outside resources or the actual paper. And then the abstract highlights the key content area, your research purpose, the relevance to your work, and the main outcome. Yeah, so those are some things that needs to be highlighted in an abstract. So it's not only merely just the summary, but it needs to have something relevant to what you have come out during the research. Okay, so that's those are some things that you need to put in an abstract. And when you are writing an abstract, I would say most publishers or most journals will give a limited number of limitation to the word count for the abstract writing, approximately 250, and it's usually, most likely, is indented and single spaced. Yeah. But again, it really depends on what the publisher is asking you. Some says it's not single space, and etc, etc. And sometimes even some publishers give limitation to the number of the font size of the abstract. Yeah, so it really depends on the journal or the publishers. Yeah, and then, although it is placed at the beginning of your paper, the abstract should be the last thing that you write. Once you're sure with the conclusion you will reach. Yes, so once you are sure with the conclusions that you will reach. Okay, so meaning that even if you put the abstract in the beginning of the at the beginning of the journal article, we actually discuss this the last, because if I put it in, let's say, in week 9 or week 10, you have nothing to write. Yeah, so that's the reason why you need to why you should write down the abstract the last thing, because you need to have all the informations in the introduction, in the literature review, and in the methodology report, and then discussion, and then the conclusion. Then you can go to the abstract writing. Yeah, because you will have no idea what to write in the abstract if you have not completed all the parts that I have just mentioned to you. Yeah, so that's some considerations, some things to be aware of. So here are to be more detailed in the information on what to include in an abstract. So an abstract generally covers the following sections. So the first one is the reason for writing. So you kind of want to bring back again the reader to the first reason why you want to do this research. Okay, so what is the importance of the research? Why would a reader be interested in the larger work? So you kind of bring this importance, the urgency of why people needs to read your paper, for example. Yeah, so that's the first thing that you need to point out in an abstract. And then the second one, you talk about the problem, because obviously this is something that you want to show the readers too, because you want to solve a problem. Yeah, and what kind of problem does this work attempt to solve, and what is the scope of the project, and also what is the main argument. So you kind of point this very briefly in an abstract, because the reader will be, if the readers feel interested to know more about the problem that you investigated, then they will go to the section where you discuss about the problem. Yeah, so you kind of just introduce the problem here, but the details of the problem that you want to solve will be discussed in the section appropriate to it. Yeah, so that's the second thing that you want to include in an abstract. And then the third one, you also want to discuss about the methodology very quickly, very briefly. Yeah, so an abstract of a scientific work may include specific models or approach used in the larger study. So you need to kind of mention it briefly, what kind of methodology that you are using for this research, and how many participants, something like that. Yeah, so that's quite necessary to be mentioned in the abstract. And then the last part is the result. So an abstract of a scientific work may include specific data that indicates the results of the project. Other abstracts may describe the types of evidence used in the research. So it really depends on what is the result of your research. So if you result in specific data, then you show what is the highlight of the result. Yeah, so that's some things that you need to know. And the last part of an abstract writing is the implication. So this is one, I think, quite crucial element in an abstract writing, because you kind of want to tell the reader that there is an implication in terms of effect, for example, in general knowledge. So how does this work add to the body of knowledge of the topic? So in the body of knowledge, does this research contribute something? That would be a better way to explain it. Yeah. And is there any practical or theoretical application for future research? So those are some things that you want to put in an abstract writing. So now we are going to look at an example of an abstract writing. So as you can see over here, I have put an example of an abstract writing. So you may want to pause this recording first. You may want to pause this video and then have a look and read by yourself this abstract, and then make a guess. Which do you think is the reason? Which one is the problem? The methods, and etc. Yeah, the implication, and so on and so on. Okay, so pause this recording, and then after that, look, identify the elements in this abstract. Yeah, so after you have done with your identification, I actually have put the discussion of the elements in this abstract in the next slide. So you might want to check your answer whether it's actually the same like my answer or not. So so the first one is the reason for writing. So the reason for writing is explained in the beginning, not only as because it's an element in the abstract writing, but it's also, the reason for it is to kind of drag the reader's attention to to read your abstract, or to read your paper in more specifically. Yeah, okay, so that's the first thing. So you write down this is the reason of writing, for writing. So you mention this study explored the pattern of video games and the usage and the addiction. Okay, so that's the first thing. And then you can also, in a way, integrate the reason and the problem into one complex sentence over here. Yeah. So they say about the problem of the addiction. They say also the relation towards their GPA and drug and alcohol violation. So you can also combine these two into one complex sentence. And then methodology, as you can see over here, it mentions about the participants or the respondents, and then how they collect the data, and so on and so on. Yeah, so this is the example of the methodology written in an abstract. And then the result is mentioned also. So the result suggested that video game addiction is negatively correlated with the college engagement, with college GPA, and then drug and alcohol violation. So that's the result. And then the implication, results are discussed for male students engagement, and in terms of the construct validity of video games addiction. So this is the implication in a bigger scope of the body of the knowledge. Okay, so that's the example of the writing for abstract, and I hope that this gives you a bit of enlightenment towards how you will write down the abstract, because later you're going to do an abstract writing. But first of all, we're going to discuss about the article, the project again. So you're going to write down, just a quick reminder, everyone, for the word count. So the introduction and literature review will be 450 to 500, and then methodology 200 to 250, result in discussion 950 to 1000, and the conclusion will be 200 to 250. So in total, there should be a maximum of 2000 word for this journal article for this writing project. And unfortunately we don't put abstract. However, we put the abstract. There is actually an element in the rubric to check the abstract, and there's a score for abstract writing later on. Okay, so that's the reminder. And for this week, you are going to draft your abstract. So after you finish writing all the section, you can now proceed to the drafting of your abstract, and pay attention to the information to be put in the abstract section. I have given you the example in the previous slides, so check it by yourself, and then try to integrate the same information that you have seen and you have learned, and put it in your own abstract. Okay, and then I know I have mentioned that it's 250 words in length, but for this research, we kind of make it a bit loose. We give a limit from 150 to 250 words for your abstract. Okay, so then we bring it all together, everyone. So in week 9, starting from week 9, we have discussed about the theory of writing introduction, and some of you have shown your introduction writing, and then the literature review in week 10, and then methodology in week 11, if I'm mistaken. Result continues after, and then discussion, conclusion, and reference. And also abstract for this week. So I really hope that all the materials from week 9 until this week 14, will help you to better write your project. Yeah, so to better write your article later on. Okay, so for next week we are going to have an oral presentation materials, because this is one of the elements that we are going to test. So after you have finished with your writing, you're going to present your research as part of your final assessment. So we're going to look at the theory, and then you're going to practice it as you go, as you have the test later on. Okay, and that actually should bring me to the end of my material today, everyone. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope to see you all in the practicum session. Have a good day, everyone. Goodbye.